This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses. Anyone who knows me hopefully will attest to I don't mind sort of lending most of my gear out to folks except for the blue K-line, because I learnt the hard way, Sam, that if you lend someone your guitar you might go to a pub and then see them sort of picking up the trem and doing tricks on the trem and you think, well, that's my favourite guitar that you're bashing around, chap. Sam. Anyway, so this little thing has actually had quite an interesting few months. So this has been in the room with Andy Wood, it's been in the room with Stephen Wilson, it's been in the room with Simon McBride. So I just wanted to kind of do a little video about it again, because this is my Pete Cornish NG2. And the story is that it's actually been on that pedal show for the last about 5 months. It's had a bit of a residency on there. You will have seen it sort of behind Mick's head, just like that bit there. I'll put it up on a video. But the story goes, basically, I did a gig with Jake that Mick was playing as well, and Mick was letting me play his Two-Rock TS1 and his pedal board. I just showed up with the guitar because Mick was sitting in for like the second set with Jake, and I can't remember what was happening at the time, but basically it's been difficult for me to leave the house without Elodie because of various reasons. But essentially now it's really difficult because we've got 4 puppies in the house as well, which is 12 dogs is the count, so more dogs than you count on fingers. But anyway, so when we went to that pedal show, we visited me and Jake on the way to a gig, and he showed me the Jimi Hendrix fuzz, which I actually used on the channel as well. And I asked him, and me and Jake, because both me and Jake have a Pete Cornish NG2. Pete Cornish, by the way, you probably have heard his pedals and stuff being played on loads of your favourite records, like David Gilmour, John Mayer and stuff like that, Cornish users. He's a guy from sort of the UK who still makes pedals. I think he's been making them since about 1976. But, you know, very much a one-man type of operation, long wait lists, and yeah, you have to ask him nicely if you want him to build some stuff, and it is, you know, proper expensive boutique stuff. But in any case, I tried Jake's one of these and I had to try this, but I was speaking to Mick, and it came up that he hadn't tried one of these before, so I thought, right, in my head, since he's letting me use his amp and his pedal board, I'll chuck him the NG2. It only occurred to me after that it has my name on it, because that's kind of the Pete Cornish thing. He puts whoever's bought the piece of gear off of their name on the actual unit. I think that is to try and discourage people from selling them at exorbitant prices. I don't think he likes that sort of thing. But anyway, and then it kind of then looked to me like a bit of a, I want to be seen on that pedal show type of thing, which was not the reason. I just wanted him to experience it. It did feature on their Fuzz special. It's kind of a bit more of a gated fuzz, but it's two fuzz circuits basically stacked, and then yeah, it has like a gate circuit, but also a really nice buffer circuit, like a lot of Pete Cornish's pedals have. So even bypassed in your signal chain, it kind of can help things along. But yeah, the first person that was in the room as a guest when this was on there was Simon McBride, who I've really enjoyed his playing. The stuff that I've seen has come up on Facebook, and he's played like some Gary Moore, and stuff like that. I think he plays with Deep Purple now, which is really cool too, but amazing player. Andy Wood was on whilst this was there, and I've loved Andy Wood's playing for a long time. I used to be posting on the Petrucci forums at the same sort of time that Tom Quayle and Andy Wood and Martin Miller were posting on there. So that's really cool, I think, for me personally. Stephen Wilson was on there. Obviously, he's a name that you've heard of as well. Jack Griffiths, who used to do the demos for Peach, who I've actually met for a coffee, he was on whilst this was on the wall. So it's seen some interesting things. It's also been, I imagine, subjected to the most amount of noise ever in its life, because in this bedroom particularly here, I don't play with that much volume, and I saw even in Andy Wood's video there was a time when the decibel meter was hitting 105, and yeah, this must have seen some things. So I'm super grateful that this has, you know, seen the light of day out there. If you've not tried an NG2, you can get the NG3. There's one on eBay at the moment, I think. I think that is basically the same circuit, Pete has said, but with a small tweak. I think it's taken a trim pot that is inside here to the outside, and you can get a few of these used. Sometimes they're bonkers prices, sometimes they're not. But I'm just here using it into the 2-rock in true That Pedal Show fashion. Of course, you have to plug it into the most expensive piece of gear that you've got. But yeah, it's been really cool that I don't know, something that I owned was on That Pedal Show. I don't know if any of you guys have ever had, like, some people send in their guitars and stuff like that, and obviously if you're a pedal manufacturer, you know, you hope that they feature your stuff if you send it in. But yeah, I borrowed that off of Mick, and it was really cool to see it used on there. I'm really glad that it's home as well, because this is my #1 fuzz, and pretty much the only fuzz I own now, actually. I've got a Tate Effects Raise the Dead, and then I've got this, which, if I ever want a fuzz, this does the thing for me. As you can hear, you know, it sounds like a fuzz pedal, but it actually feels good to me to play. The only other fuzz that I would put up there with this, now that I played one, would be a Big Muff style, because I borrowed that JHS Crimson that you might have seen the other day from my buddy Ryan Davey from up the road. As I say, we like to sort of like let each other borrow gear and stuff like that, me and my mates. I think it's a really, really useful way to, I don't know, explore gear without cost, if you get what I mean. And instead of going out and buying loads of gear, why don't you make friends with people that also have the same problem as you? So yeah, the NG2, at some point I see in my future maybe a big muff, but to be honest, fuzz is not my first kind of love effect. I generally wouldn't ever use a fuzz live. I think there's a certain type of gig where it might make sense if you're doing like a lot of Hendrixy stuff, or a very bluesy gig or a trio-y gig, but for me, the stuff that I do, you know, playing with a keyboard player, playing with a band at weddings and stuff, fuzz is not the first thing I use. So let me know if you're a fuzz guy. Let me know your thoughts on Pete Cornish. And again, thanks to That Pedal Show boys, Mick particularly, for checking this one out and for giving it a safe home for the last however long it's been. It's been a while. Cheers.